Was I gave you two Aseres HaDibros. Okay, it's 3 pieces of paper. I realized later that I probably should have just spaced them into 2 pages. The first page and the first half of the second page is Aseres HaDibros and Parshas Yisro. The second half of the second page and the second half of the first page, the second page is Aseres HaDibros and Vaeschanan. What we want to do is notice how many differences there are between the 2 sets of Aseres HaDibros, and then we want to know why. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to look at your pages and to come up with differences between the first luchos and the second luchos. That's our topic. Okay, we're starting off with how many differences can you see between the first set of luchos and the second set of luchos. Vayidaber Elikim. Okay, Vayidaber Elikim besides Vayidaber Elikim. From Anochi. Okay, the first dibur is identical. The second dibur has one difference. What is it? Very good. in number 2 it says L'saslecha pesel v'chol tmuna, and in Vaeschanan it says L'saslecha pesel kol tmuna. That's good. That is good. That is good. The third dibur is also identical. Okay, beginning with the fourth dibur, this is where the differences start to become more, frequent. Okay? So we did the first 3. There's only one difference in the first 3 diburim, the kol tmuna or the v'chol tmuna in the second dibur. Otherwise, they're identical. Then you get to the fourth, right? So you have a lot of differences. Okay, Zocher and Shomer, that's one. The second set has 4 extra words in Pasuk Yud Aleph. Kasher tzivcha Hashem alakecha, which you do not have in the first set. You see? Yeah? Keep going. You have v'sharcha v'chamoircha v'chol be'emtecha. And in the first set you just have avdecha v'amoscha uv'emtecha. Okay, so that's what we're going to call that number. What do we call that number? What number are we going to give that? We'll give that 4. Right? Shercha v'chameircha v'chol be'emtecha. Okay, what else? Next. Before you get to that. Leman yanuach. In the second set you have Leman yanuach avdecha v'amoscha kamoicha, which you do not have in the first set. Right? Okay, we're doing now Shabbos, the fourth one. So in the second set it's Zacharta ever the Yisro Eretz Mitzrayim, and in the first set it says Kisheishes Yomim. The reason for keeping Shabbos in the first set of luches, in the first Aseres HaDibros, has to do with Hashem creating the world. In the second Aseres HaDibros, it has to do with the fact that we were slaves in Egypt. So it's a whole different approach, right? So this is the 6th difference. It's a whole pasuk. Chaf Yud in the first set and He Yud Al in the second set are supposed to be equals, but they say completely different things, right? The first set says Kisheishes Yom Asa Hashem B'Sashmayim B'Sa'aret As Yom V'Eskolach B'Shmam Yom Shvi Al Kain Be'erech Hashem As Yom V'Eskolach. The second set says V'Zacharta Ke'ever the Yisro Beretz Mitzrayim. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt. V'Yitziach Hashem L'Kecha Misham B'Echon Al Kain Tzivcha Hashem L'Kecha Las Yom Shabbos. I would like to make it into 2 separate differences. The Al-Kain becomes the 7th difference, okay? The last words of Pasuk Yud in the first set, and the last words in Pasuk Yud in the second set become the 7th difference. In the first set, Al-Kain Berech Hashem Shabbos. The second set, Al-Kain Tivcha Hashem L'Kecha Las Yom Shabbos. Okay? Okay, very good. Okay, so we got to add that. Avdecha V'avdecha, v'amosecha, v'sheirecha. Okay, so we got to make that into, I don't know how to do it now, so we're going to make it into 4a. So we got an extra difference. Okay. Okay, now, let's go on to the next one. Kabed esavicha v'esimecha, right?
It looks very different.
Kabed esavicha v'esimecha. So in the first set it says, right away, leman yarichon yamecha. In the second set, you have the words Kasher Tzivcha Hashem Elikecha, which you do not have in the first set, right? Otherwise, Laman Yarichun Yomecha. Wait. In the first says Laman Yarichun Yomecha Alo Adama. In the second set, you have the additional words Ulaman Yitav Loch Ala Adama Asher Hashem Elikecha Neisein Loch. Right now, So I have so far, with the help of Moshe Lipschitz and the Junger Man who got that Vav, 10 differences. 10. 2 of them are Vavs. The first one is in the second, where it says, L'sasecha pesel v'chol tmuna versus pesel and tmuna. The other Vav is Avdacha versus V'avdacha. But besides for those 2, the differences are significant. Right? Zocher and Shamar, Kasha Tzivcha. What's the reason for keeping Shabbos? Is it because Hashem created the world, because Hashem took us out of Egypt? And the Alkain, we're counting the Alkain as separate. Alkain, in the first set, is Alkain, Beirach Hashem es Yei Mashal V'Kadesheyu. Hashem blessed Shabbos, and in the second set, it's Alkain, Tivcha Hashem L'kech Lasem Shabbos. Now, in Kabed Esavicha V'Simecha, in the second set, you have the extra words Kasha Tzivcha Hashem L'kecha and the extra words Ulaman Yitavloch. So we have a total of 10 differences so far. Okay. Let's continue. So Loi Tirach is the same. So now the second set V'loi Tinaf. Okay. So let's do this. V'loi Tinaf is 10. Loi Signav is 11. Right. It's 12. Loi Sane is 12. Okay. Wait. So now. So Loi Tirach. Loi Tinaf and Viloi Tinaf becomes the 11th difference. Loi Signav and Viloi Signav becomes the 12th difference. Loi Sana and Viloi Sana becomes the 13th difference. The 4th difference is 8 Shaker and 8 Shav. Correct? And then in the last one, Loi Sachmaid Beis Reyecha versus Eishes Reyecha. Right? Then, okay, very good. So do that too, right? So it's Viloi Sachmaid. Right. And then we have Beis Reyecha versus Eishes Reyecha. And then the big difference is that it says V'loi Sis Ave, and over here it says Loi Sachmaid again.
So it's again
there's a Vav, okay, but we'll count them as 1. Okay, we'll make them 2, make you happy. The dashes are in the print. The dashes are not in the Sefer Torah. Loi Sachmaid, then you have Beis Reyecha, so there you Avdei, Amosei, Shedi, V'chamoyre. In the first one you have Eishes Reyecha, Avdei, V'amosei, V'shedi, V'chamoyre. So you have the difference of Eishes Reyecha versus Beis Reyecha, right? And then you have the extra Sadehu, which you do not have in the first Dibres. Okay, fine. And then you have Shaita V'Shaita. The little ones are a little bit too much for us, but point well taken. No, V'chameri has a Vav, and then V'chel Shech has the same. So if I counted correctly, we got 21 differences. Some of them are Vavs, and some of them are substantial. Here comes the $1 million question. Can you please tell me which of these 2 was written in the Aseres and the Luchas? Hashem gave us Luchas, and He carved the words in the tablets. A contradiction in the Bible. You don't need biblical critics at a university to ask kashas on Tanakh. In the Chumash, you got 2 versions.
Tablets came out twice.
Tablets came out 2 sets of tablets. Okay, what are you going to say?
I think there's another difference in 2 with spelling.
What one?
And the last word in the Torah is with a vav at that.
Okay, that's a clear and a ksiv. Okay, fine. 20 is enough for me.
I don't know if that's the difference.
20 is enough. I got 21. 21 is enough for me. 21 is enough for me. Okay, Chavre. So the answer, as you said correctly, is the first set of luches which Moshe Rabbeinu broke is the Aseres HaDibros that are written in Parshas Yisro, and the second set of luches is the Aseres HaDibros that we got when Moshe Rabbeinu took the stones out of the ground. Moshe broke the first luchas. Then we had to get a second set of luchas, but the second set was not as great as the first set. The first set, Hashem made the actual stone, and then He wrote the Aseres HaDibros onto the stone, or however He did it. The stone was created with words. The second set of luchas, Moshe Rabbeinu took the stone out of the ground, and he brought it up the mountain, and the Eibishter carved the Aseres into the luchas. You have a ksav and a michtav and the even, and so on and so forth, right? So we answered the big question. There's no contradictions in Torah. The first version of Aseres HaDibros is written in the first luchas. The second version of Aseres HaDibros is written in the second luchas. But here comes the question. There's got to be a reason for all these differences.
Wait, the Jews were acting.
Okay, good. Can you help me out? Correct. Rabbi Yisai. So what's the difference between the first set of luchas and the second set of luchas? The difference in a word is The first set of luchas were given to Yidden as they were tzaddikim. The first ones were smashed, yes. The second set of luchas were given to the Yidden as bailei tshuva. So now, there were 20 differences, or 21 differences, or 22 differences between the two sets. All of those differences have to speak to the difference between a tzaddik and a baal tshuva. Can anybody come up with an insight? I'm going to give you one clue, just one clue, okay? That the words kasher tzivcha means in Mora. Remember last week's class? That we got 10 mitzvahs in Mora, including Shabbos and Kibbutz Avayim. Shabbos and Kibbutz Avayim are 4 and 5. By both of them, it says in the second set, Kasher Tzivcha. Right. By both of them, it says in the second set, Kasher Tzivcha. Kasher Tzivcha means I gave it to you before Matan Torah and Mora. The first set doesn't have the Kasher Tzivcha. So here's a big clue. Why, when you talk to him about tshuva, you talk to him about mitzvahs he got before the Torah was given? And when you talk to a tzaddik, that's not important. That's one clue that I'm giving you. I will give you each, I can't see the time now, it's 5 minutes. If you come up with any of the differences you wish, you pick the difference. You pick the difference and tell me, in your opinion, why in the tzaddik version it's missing a vav, and in the Baal Tshuva version there is a vav, and other insights like that. I'd like to hear your creativity. Don't be afraid. There's no wrong answers. Sit with your neighbor, talk. You have 5 minutes.
So Gershon came up with the idea. The first one was the first, also second one.
I didn't make that up. The Rebbe apparently said it. There couldn't be some Sfarim. I didn't make that up.
Right. So the second one was more, let's say, more details in the psukim, because after
Chet Egel,
and people were
on a lower level.
And you needed more special.
Well, if that's the case, we don't have enough as it is. Yeah, I mean, how much? Adds a few words. Okay, point well taken, but I want to talk about the particulars. Pick one difference and tell me what you think the difference is. Go ahead. What's your first name? You can't say no, Chaim Zev. Chaim Zev. Go ahead, Chaim Zev. Go ahead.
The first one's more about God, and the second one's more about people themselves.
The first one's more about the Eibishter. You're giving me a generalization.
I'm saying, look at the pasuk. Pasuk Yud. Al Kain Ber Hashem Asher Shabbos VaKachehu. And then when you look at pasuk Yud Gimel.
Yudalit Al Kain Sivcha Hashem Aleikecha. Good, very good. In the first says Hashem blessed Shabbos. In the second, Hashem gave you Shabbos. Very good. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Chaim Zev. Your name is still Chaim Zev 2 seconds ago. I didn't make up a new name. I was about to say Yosef Zev, but okay. Which is higher? Beirech Hashem HaShabbos or Tzivcha Hashem Alekecha Lasais Hashem HaShabbos? Which is the higher madrege? The Shabbos that the Eibishter blesses, or the Shabbos the Eibishter tells us to do? You see how interesting this is? I think the answer is both. It's lower and higher. Without the bracha, lases is lower. With the bracha, from the tzaddik's version, the lases is higher. The Shabbos we do by ourselves. There's the Shabbos the Eibishter made, and there's the Shabbos we do after the Shabbos the Eibishter made. So that's the Baal Tshuva right there. He's lower than the tzaddik, he's higher than the tzaddik. Good. Anybody else? Chavre! Zachar and Shaman. The obvious difference is Zachar and Shaman. Now, what's the difference in Zachar and Shaman?
Shaman is more like practical.
One has to be reminded.
What? Yeah.
Your opinion?
Asking more of like more practical.
Which is more practical? Shaman. Shaman means learn Hilchas Shabbos. Zachar means have a beautiful Chadaydi. Yeah. Zachar is the mitzvah saseh, and Shaman is the mitzvah slay saseh. Zachar is the positive mitzvah of Shabbos, celebrate Shabbos. And Shaman, you should know all the Hilchas Shabbos with all the shvusim and all the nervous stuff, the OCD. Yeah, this is Zachar and Shaman. The mitzvah saseh and the mitzvah slay saseh.
They have to be reminded what's right and what's wrong.
Which one, Zachar or Shomer?
Shomer.
Shomer you have to be reminded. Then Zachar?
Also,
So what's the difference?
one's on higher.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead. What's your first name again?
Kofi.
Yankiv. What else goes with Yankiv? Dov or David? David Yankiv, Shlita. I forgot your name already, but trying. David Yankiv. Go ahead. What do you think?
In the first one at the end of 2, it says side with a yud, it's like Hashem, and then when it spells it with a vav, we're drawing down.
Okay, we got a Kabbalist in the
And
house.
it says vav every time there's an extra vav, it's in the second one.
All the extra vavs are the second one.
I don't know. I just guessed.
Now, how do you, of course, we're all guessing.
I didn't read it.
This whole thing is made up. We're all guessing. I would like, don't be afraid. Say what's on your mind. Go ahead. You're still Chaim Zev, yeah? You're still Chaim Zev. Go ahead.
Yes, at the end it doesn't say anything about the money new abdecha v'masach, because when you're on the level of tzaddik, you don't need a reminder to look at other people like you. When you're about tshuva, you have to be reminded what's the direct path. How are you supposed to engage people when you're, how are you supposed to look at people as yourself?
Oh, in other words, the second set you have to say, it's not enough that you rest. You have to make your slave. And the first set, of course, if you're resting, your slave is resting. Okay? Nice. Anybody else? Go ahead.
The shower says kasher tzifasha like that.
Right, V'mora. Kashdif means in Mora. Yeah, go ahead.
That's more yira.
It's more Yira. Shomer is more Yira. Kasher Tzifcha is more Yira. Okay? Anybody else? Don't be afraid, people.
Maybe mitzvahs are said mitzvahs. Like some of them are more like don't do it.
So which is which? The tzaddik is mitzvah saseh or the Baal Tshuva is mitzvah saseh?
The tzaddik is a sin.
The tzaddik is aseh and the Baal Tshuva is leis aseh. The tzaddik experiences the light of a mitzvah, so automatically he's going to do it right, not do it wrong. The Baal Tshuva may lack the light of the mitzvah, so you got to warn him, be careful. I like what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, I think. I'll change my mind in a minute. For this minute, I'm asking with you. Have anybody else? My right flank is weak. Come on. Va'amosecha. That's a dikkeduk. It's beyond me, my friend. Va'amoscha. And the second one says, both of them va'amoscha. They both of them say va'amoscha. Yeah. V'cho behemtecha and uvehemtecha. I'm sure. Okay, avdecha, because it says twice. It says le'sasechol melacha ato uvincha uvitecha avdecha va'amoscha. Oh, I see. It says twice. Because the next line says again va'amosecha. So you're right. Va'amosecha. And I honestly don't know the reason. I have no idea. I'm sure it's significant, but I have no idea. But he also adds v'shoyrcha v'achamorcha, which the other one doesn't have, and the second one just has v'hemtecha, and the second one says uv'chol v'hemtecha. Go ahead.
Maybe the sharcha and the chamorcha is like the nefesh Bahamas.
Okay, and the Eved and the Shifcha is what? Nefesh Alakis. Okay, Nefesh Bahamas. Okay, good, very good. Actually, very, very good. Good. What's your first name in the whole ganze Namen? You're Nachem Mendel. Hamachun and Nachi. Go ahead.
Yisro says Zachar Sam Shabbos Katra, and then it says Shomer Sam Shabbos Katra. That when you're Baal Tshuva, you want to guard Shabbos because you know how important it is.
Oh, so you're spinning it the other way. Not Shomer is an instruction. Shomer is a sense of appreciation for Shabbos that you're going to guard it more carefully. Okay. Good. Go ahead.
Thing in number 10.
Okay.
How there's no vav at the beginning.
Right.
One of them, and then like it says Ashes Re'efa, and then the other one says
Beis Re'ech. Okay. Yeah, of course. I mentioned them all, but now I tell what you think the reason for these differences is. What's the reason for these differences? That means your friend. Go ahead.
The Gimel doesn't mention anything about a field.
Right.
and Yudzayin does. Maybe because when it comes to a tzaddik, he understands if you have right, you have shiras and chamarim, you already know they're existing in the field. But by about tshuva, he needs more directly. He needs more places where not to go.
Very good. Okay, good. Agree. Beis reyacho. Sadehu va'avde va'amose sheirei va'chameirei v'chela sher l'reach. Anybody else? Chevra, I just want to say one thought that I have, okay, about the vovs. The vov means and. Lei sirtzach, lei sinnof, lei signev, lei sane, lei sachmed, with a vov. The vov means that aveda gereres aveda. The one bad thing speaks another bad thing. The no vav means each one is an entity unto itself. And I think that's one of the differences in the first set of luchas and the second set of luchas, which we're calling, for the purpose of this conversation, the tzaddik and the Baal Tshuva, if the connection between the commandments is logical. In other words, in the second set of luchas, Hashem is giving us 10 commandments. The 10 commandments not only make sense, but the 10 commandments begot one another. If you could kill, you'll steal. You could commit adultery. Commit adultery, you could steal, and so on and so forth. The vav makes them a hemshach. Okay, fine, you're giving me Kabbalah. We'll save the Kabbalah for a few minutes from now. He's correct. He's absolutely correct. So the vav means that these mitzvahs are connected. One brings to the next, brings to the next, brings to the next, brings to the next. But the problem is, the biggest aveda is first, and the second aveda is after. So if I'm right, that the vavs show on an evolution from the one aveda being the second aveda, shouldn't it be backwards? First it should have Lo Yisave, Vil Lo Yisachmed, Vil Lo Yisane, Vil Lo Yisigna, Vil Lo Yisina, Vil Lo Yisitzach. Because if the vav is connecting them to show how one aveda brings the second aveda, brings the third aveda, brings the fourth aveda, then it should be in the reverse order.
Why? You could kill.
If you could kill, for sure you could commit adultery. So then it's
and you'll kill. And
so what's the chiddush? What's the chiddush? Go ahead, Moshe.
Yeah, I feel like the first one are more commandments and second one are more like warnings.
Where do you see that?
When like they always they pointing it out.
What's the difference between Leisinov and Vileisinov?
So the first one is what's called, he's saying like the first one this, the second one this. The second 10 they more connected to each other.
Right, but how does that make it more of a commandment? They're both commandments.
Yeah, but just in case you thought you were over it, you had more.
Okay, there's always more. There's always more. Unless you're going to explain that it means a thought. If you think about murder, you could think about Gilead Oyes, and at some point it goes from a thought to an action. So in other words, the vavs make it aveda gereres aveda. But if you're doing aveda gereres aveda, you should start from the smallest aveda and go to the biggest aveda. In the psukim, you go from the biggest aveda to the smallest aveda. So maybe loitit, I mean, don't even think about killing somebody, because then you can think about Gilead Oyes, then you can think about Gneva, and then finally you get to one that you'll actually do. And then when you'll do it, chas v'shalom, you can go backwards from a smaller aveda to a bigger aveda, from what's not such a big deal to a bigger deal. This is what I was thinking about the vav. Go ahead. Your name is Yankev David. David Yankev. Go ahead.
The Baal Tshuva, he came from doing all this stuff, and he's going backwards into this. He's going from killing and then doing this and then doing this and then doing less and less and less.
Oh, so in other words, he's taking on one mitzvah at a time.
Like now I won't kill, now I won't steal,
Okay.
now I won't.
Oh, wow. I don't know if the Abish is that tolerant. Aseres HaDibros, I don't think it's, you don't take them on one at a time. Putting on them in the tamtfil, you can take on one at a time. Huh? Go ahead, Moshe.
Yeah, so it's not more different between the first time and the second time, but I just realized the thing that goes like, it looks like it steps down, that everything you do, you get worse and worse.
Right.
So the first one is between you and Hashem. It's your own deal, right? The Shabbos, something that it's your own connection to Hashem. Then, the neighbor between you and the other person, killing, murder, also between you and another person than your family.
So this is an Rishonim. This is an Ramban. That the first 5 are ben adam labokim, and the second 5 are ben adam lachavere. But that's true for both sets. The problem is kabed desavicha vesimecha is the 5th. So the Rebbe has a whole sikha. It's in Chelik Lamed Vav. The sikha from Tafshin Nun Beis, the Likud, to explain that kibbud av aim is ben adam lamokim. So that's true, but that doesn't separate the first luchas and the second luchas. It separates the first 5 from the second 5. Go ahead. What's your first name? The ganze. Shnei Zalman. Go ahead. Chaim Shnei Zalman. Go ahead. Right. Right.
And also it says in the next passage.
So he said that. Chaim was that. Chaim Zev already said that. Go ahead.
And it also said,
Right.
Did someone else say that already?
No. So explain it.
So it's like Hashem is saying, like how you used to be like in the dumps.
Okay, Chevre. Does anybody maybe making Kiddush Friday night? How many zeichers do we have in Kiddush on Friday night? 4. What are the 4? Give me the sit. How many zeichers do we have in Kiddush on Friday night? You said it so convincingly that I believe you. I just know what they are. Anybody? There's 2. There's zeicher l'maaseh bereishis and zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. In Kiddush on Friday night. I'm looking at the Kiddush of Yom Tov. This Kiddush of Yom Tov. You say zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. That's it. Shabbos we say 2 zeichers. Zeicher l'maaseh bereishis and zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. Hello, look at the first set of luchas. The first set of luchas say Ki sheishis yomim asa Shabbos l'shmayim v'sa'aret. That's zeicher l'maaseh bereishis. The second luchas said V'zoch ato ki eved ha'yisa be'eretz Mitzrayim v'yitziach Hashem l'kecha misham. That's zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. Don't you see? In Kiddush on Shabbos, there are 2 zeichers. Zeicher l'maaseh bereishis, zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. Remember, he created the world. First luchas. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. Second luchas. Now comes the next question. Which is a higher idea? That Hashem created the world or Hashem took us out of Egypt? The Tzaddik says zeicher l'maaseh bereishis. The Baal Tshuva says zeicher l'yetzias Mitzrayim. So the plot thickens. The plot thickens. You hear? Anyway, this is interesting, right? Does anybody else wish to speak? That's you tell me. This is your chance to speak. Yossi Yitzchak ben Shleima HaKohen Shlita. I know your father's name because it went in when the memory still worked. When your kids are my class, forget about it. Go ahead. What's the difference?
The world is, I don't know, just more spiritual level. TSI is more physical.
The creation of the world on a more physical level. More spiritual level. It just was physical. Interesting. Anybody else want to disagree with Yossi Shlomo HaKohen? What's your name? You're not sure why, but you disagree. I like that. What's your name? The guy said your whole Hebrew name. Menachem Mendel. That's it? No more additions? No more Menachem Mendel Chaim or Chaim Menachem Mendel? Just Menachem Mendel plain. What's your last name? Schwarzbord. I forgot already. But Schwarzbord. How verbringen about Schwarzbord? What's Schwarzbord in Lashon Mishnah? Tishchayres. Have a kal roish v'noyach l'tishchayres. It's in the first Perek of Pirkei Avos. We never had this conversation? Be careful from Schwarzbord. You know why? Because he's going to get a Weisbord and he's not going to forget how you treated him when he had a Schwarzbord. He's going to take revenge. Don't start out with young people. Schwarzbord means you're forever young. That's what it means. Schwarzbord. There's a Gemara in Masechet Pesachim also like that. Don't start out with young people because they're going to stick around. You're going to get old. You're going to forget that you insulted him. He's never going to forget, and he's going to come back 40 years later and Schwarzbord you. Anyway, it's good to have a name like Schwarzbord. Maybe now I'll remember your name. Well, what were you going to say, Menachem Mendel?
The first that Hashem says directly to Yidden second one might be it. So
Very good. And that's Tzaddik and Baltshuva. Tzaddik and Baltshuva. So, Chavre, first of all, I love the fact that you all spoke. Second of all, I want to explore this, which means I may spend a few weeks on this. We may come back next week and continue this conversation. You're free to keep your copies or you're free to return your copies. I just want to give you, so to speak, a foundational idea. Go ahead. Chaim Ze'ev Shlita.
I was going to ask him a question. How exactly were they on the level of tzaddikim, like coming in when it shows on all their complaints? And I asked my Rabbi once before. He said, asked them how were they susceptible to Malcolm saying Moshe died because they never really worked for it. There's a lot of shepherds that say they never really worked for that first. They just got it, and they didn't even believe in Hashem and according to the Rambam until Malcolm Torah itself.
According to who?
Until Malcolm Torah.
According to who?
The Rambam.
Where is this Rambam?
I could find it. I don't
You
know.
better find it for me, man.
This is what I was told.
No, I need a source. The person who told you has it in a book. I want to see the Rambam.
I believe it's in the beginning of Mishnah Torah.
That they didn't believe until Aseres.
Yeah.
They didn't believe in the Eibush till Aseres
Fully
HaDibros?
believe in it. Even when we
Oh,
say
fully believe.
full belief, the ikar belief in Muna was by Malcolm Torah according to the Rambam.
I want to see that the Rambam, please. I'd like to see that the Rambam.
That would correlate with them being Jewish.
But wait, so your point is well taken. What you're saying is they were tzaddikim because everything they had they got from the Eibishter as Gedim. Gershon is Gark and Kotesh. Your point is so well taken. Gershon is Gark and Kotesh Neil Dom. A person becomes a convert. Have you ever spoken to Gedim? You know any converts? Have you no converts? Converts swear they feel like they're born again when they go to the mikveh. But you know what happens after they come out of the mikveh? They remember what happened in their previous life. You know what I'm saying? And it's not so easy. But they were Gedim. Gershon is guy cut children. So what you're right about is they were tzaddikim not because they're righteous people. They didn't have a chance to do an Aseres. Gershon is guy cut children when they were brand new. Everything they had, the Eibishter gave them. It was all unilateral. Hashem gave them everything based on the presumption that they're a clean slate, and Hashem is giving them the Torah from that perspective. So you're right when you say that their tzidkis was precarious. It was weak. V'haraya, they did do this. Nobody can understand how they made the egel. It's impossible to understand how that could have happened. So the tzidkis was very precarious. Point well taken. But they were still tzaddikim. Then they did Aveda, and they had to do tshuva. And after the tshuva, they got the second set of luchas. So, on every level, this difference between tzaddik and Baal Tshuva exists. About tshuva, it's much harder to be Baal Tshuva than a tzaddik. Especially if you're a bad Baal Tshuva, you know. You know what's a bad Baal Tshuva? Us. Every 5 minutes, doing tshuva again. The revolving door Baal Tshuva, it's a very hard place to be. If you do tshuva and you become a tzaddik afterwards, it's not bad. But if you never really win, you're always fighting, and you hate yourself for it, and you consider yourself a bad guy, and you feel like you're a hypocrite, and you think the Eibush is creating a new Gehenim for you, what you don't know is that the Nachas Ruach, you give the Eibush, I don't mean you, because you're Taka tzaddik. You're like before Matan Data. You went out of Mitzrayim, didn't make the Egel. But the rest of us, yeah, the Eibishter gets incredible Nachas Ruach from the person who doesn't do it well and does it anyway. So that sort of gives insight into the difference between the first set of Aseres HaDibros and the second set of Aseres HaDibros. Okay, so I'm planting a seed. Today, we had a Fabrengen. It's a great class. I wish more of you would have shared, and I'm planning, I think, I'll decide between now and next Sunday, I'm probably going to continue this. It'll be a while. We'll learn Aseres HaDibros, but we sort of established a foundation. I just want you to think about this. There's a lot of differences between tzaddikim and Baalei Tshuva. But now when it comes to Emunah, they're exactly the same. Exactly the same. There's no difference between tzaddik and Baalei Tshuva when it comes to relationship with the Eibishter. When it comes to mitzvahs. The whole difference is the pesel kol tmuna and the pesel v'chol tmuna. Now I have an idea. I have an idea whether the pesel and kol tmuna, pesel v'chol tmuna. Whether it's one Aveda or two Avedas. In the Minyan Alavim, according to the Rambam, Aseres Pesach, he's not allowed to make a human face, is one lav. And Tmuna means you're not allowed to make the likeness of the sun and the moon and the stars. So the two different lavim. But in the first set, there's no vav. There is a vav, I'm sorry. Pesel Vichol, it's two different lavim. In the second set, it's one, no vav. Pesel Kol Tmuna, as if they're one and the same. And I believe that you could explain this based on a person's level. A tzaddik's on a higher level. So there's one Aved of Pesel, one Aved of Tmuna. And like I said, next week I'm going to probably develop this a little bit further. But besides for that, the first three dibros are verbatim the same. When it comes to our relationship with God, there's no difference. Azayid, Azayid, Azayid. You came in the front door, you came in the back door, you stuck into the basement, you came in through a window, you found a hole in the ceiling. A Yid comes in relationship to the Eibishter. When it comes to the relationship with the Eibishter, we're all the same. The minute it comes to mitzvahs, Shabbos, Kibbutz Avayim, and then of course all the other ones, murder, adultery, theft.
There's no difference between like yourself and like yourself.
There's a vav.
No, not in the first one.
We're taking. Okay, the light is also the same, but Vile Sinaf, Vile Signe, Vile Sana, Vile Sachman, and Leisis Ave. So I just find this fascinating. There may be difference between one Jew and another Jew. And there's two sets of Aseres HaDibros. When it comes to Emunah, we're the same. Go ahead. Shleima ben Yezevitza, but Shleima HaKohen Shlita. Should have more Emunah, has to work harder on it.
Work harder. You can't have one.
Okay, so Mela what? So do what? So what should Rebbe should do? He said the tzaddik has to have less?
He doesn't have less, he just, he sees it, so it's not really good. He sees everything as godliness.
So then why does he have to have a Aseres HaDibros? He can have 7 dibros. Apparently the tzaddik needs to hear it also. Tzaddik has to have a commandment also. Even when it comes to Emunah. Apparently. I just think it's interesting that the first 3 dibros, they're the same. Except for that vav. The difference is that when it comes to the mitzvahs, is the difference. When it comes to our relationship with the Eibishter, we're all equal. Chavre, I will speak to you when I speak to you. You can keep these or give them back. Amen. Thank you.